It's finally time to go over my biggest Nebraska football hot takes. This is going to be a controversial video, to say the least. There's going to be a lot of people who disagree with what I'm about to say, discussing the past, the present, and the future of Husker football. But I'm going to defend what I'm about to say. I'm going to give you some good takes, some controversial takes. Some of you may agree. Most of you will probably not agree, but just know this. It's going to be very entertaining. It's going to be educational, so strap in. Get some popcorn. Get locked in. It's going to be a very fun video going over my biggest Nebraska football hot takes going forward. Let's have a conversation. So really quick, before we get into it, hit that like button if you're fired up. Also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're unsubscribed, please hit that subscribe button for daily Husker football content. Best family here on Nebraska YouTube. Join this family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it, going over my biggest, most pressing Nebraska football hot takes about the past, the present, and most importantly, the future of this program. So I want to get things started saying that what I'm about to say are hot takes. They're meant to be controversial. They're meant to be unpopular. So if you disagree with what I'm about to say, feel free to provide your reasoning, but don't go in the comment section saying, this is a terrible take, Wilson. Nobody agrees. They're meant to be hot takes. They're meant to be controversial. But what I'm about to do is say something that I believe is correct, and I'm going to provide you proof, analysis, and everything else you need. All right. Let's get to my biggest hot take. This is going to be a controversial one. I want to get things started off the right way. Number one, I think Nebraska needs to stop promoting and parading their rich football history. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean erase history. It doesn't mean don't talk about it. But we need to stop parading the fact that we're a blue blood, that we won 5 national championships. We need to stop parading Tom Osborne like he's, the Jesus of this program, because at the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore, especially the young generation. I look at everything from a recruiting lens. No recruit in the country cares that Nebraska won national championships 30 years ago. It's irrelevant. It's not only irrelevant to recruits, it's irrelevant to young fans. I grew up in the state of Nebraska. I grew up at a high school in Omaha. Nebraska was a laughingstock. Nebraska football was. It just was. Because we've lost our entire lives. Nobody cares about the fact that we won national championships before we were born. So I say all that to say this. We need to stop parading our history. We need to be a new school program. Those are the programs that are successful. The Georgias, the Oregons of the world, the Ohio States of the world. They're not constantly talking about what they did 30 years ago. They're focused on the now. They're focused on the present. Okay? We need to focus on our future. So it's cool that we won 30 years ago, but it's completely irrelevant to what we're doing right now. It has zero impact. If you ask some of these recruits why they committed to Nebraska, none of them are saying, I committed to Nebraska because they have rich history. They just don't care about that. That's on the bottom of their priorities. Focus on being a new school team. Focus on the future. That's what made us relevant in the first place back 50 years ago, because we were focused on being a new school team. Do it again. So we need to stop focusing on what we did in the past. We need to stop focusing on Tom Osborne. Who cares about what he has to say? He was our coach 25 years ago. Okay, all respect to him. He was a great, phenomenal coach, but it also should be remembered that he wanted Scott Frost here better than anybody. Look how Scott Frost did. He isn't the savior. End of the day, man, I think we should celebrate our history. We should recognize it. We should talk about it, but that shouldn't be the end-all, be-all of our program. We need to be focused on the future as well, because that's how you're going to be successful going forward. So that's my first take. Is we need to stop parading our history all the time, acting like we're some prestigious blue blood program still to this day, because we just aren't. We're a bottom feeder team, and we're an average team. That's just the way we've been. And if we want to get out of that, we need to focus on the future. So that's my first hot take. Feel free to disagree. My second hot take, let's go to the future of Nebraska football, particularly next year, and Matt Rhule. I believe that the 2025 offense will make or break Matt Rhule's tenure with the Huskers. Okay, because I feel good about the defense. I've always felt good about the defense. Matt Rhule is a defensive-minded coach. It doesn't matter that Tony White's here anymore, or not here anymore. Okay, we need to focus on this offense, and how successful our offense is will literally depend on how many wins we get. It will determine how many wins we get and how successful Matt Rhule will be in his tenure. We have the pieces. We have the great transfers. We have the 5-star quarterback. If Matt Rhule can't figure that out and win football games, and I mean win legit football games, 8, 9 wins, 10 wins, he's just not going to succeed in Nebraska. I feel good about the defense. The defense is always going to be great. Okay? The special teams will probably improve. But if this offense can't become a top 20 unit with a 5-star quarterback, a guy who you believe is a future NFL first-round draft pick, How do we have any confidence in Matt Rhule going into 2026? That's the storyline. Like, quit talking about the defense. We know it's going to be good. It's always been good. Whether Matt Rhule is at Temple, Baylor, Nebraska, it's always going to be good. The storyline's the offense, because it's been awful. And you have Dana Holgorsen, and you feel good about that. But we've seen older coordinators, older coaches come to Lincoln and fail. For whatever reason, this is where players and coaches go to die. I can't explain it. So Dana Holgorsen, we don't know. Maybe he's good, maybe he isn't. But I do know one thing. If this offense isn't successful next year, Nebraska is not going to be successful, and it doesn't mean anything good for Matt Rhule's tenure. We might have to be talking about some pretty bad things if he doesn't make a bowl game, or if we're another average 6-win, 7-win team. So the offense will make or break the season. Number 3. To the fans out there who say Nebraska football needs to return to the Big 12, it was a mistake to ever leave that conference, I think that is one of the most foolish things you can say. Look at the Big 12 nowadays. It is a bottom feeder league. It's a bottom feeder. It's irrelevant. Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State. You have Cincinnati in there now. Okay? UCF, BYU. It's not a good conference. We jumped off a sinking ship, just like Oklahoma and Texas did, to go to the Big Ten, which is a relevant league, arguably the best conference in all of college football. And yes, we're not having success in this new league. And yes, we'd probably be winning more football games if we were in the Big 12. But what do you care more about? Potentially winning national championships, being a relevant program, or winning in an inferior league? Because, we'd win if we were in the FCS as well. Do we want to be in the FCS? Probably not. Okay, you got to rise up to your challenges. The problem is Nebraska hasn't rose up to their challenges yet. Okay, but thank goodness we're not in the Big 12. Because if we were in that bottom feeder league, we would be getting way less NIL money. The fans would not be happy because we'd be playing garbage opponents like Cincinnati, like Baylor, like Texas Tech. Like, we don't care about those teams. We want to play Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma's in the SEC now. Okay, we did the smart thing by getting out of there. At the end of the day. So, you can disagree all you want. We might be winning more football games in the Big 12, but it's not in our best interest going forward. We got to rise up to the opponents in the Big 10, because if you want to win, you got to play the best. And we need to stop complaining about playing good teams. It is what it is. You're never going to win games if you complain about playing good teams. You need to be a good team yourself. So, number 3 is that we should never return to the Big 12. That shouldn't even be a conversation. Number 4, Nebraska needs to stop glorifying the wide receiver positions a lot, the running back positions, the DB position in recruiting. If Matt Rhule wants to build a good team, and this might be an old school take, you need to prioritize the trenches over literally everything else. Defensive line. I think defensive line is the most important position in football. Even more important than quarterback at points in time. Okay, because defensive line can completely change football games. Nebraska has not had an elite defensive line in years. Last year was our best D-line in a while, and they never took over a ball game. Ty Robinson was good. He wasn't the Ndamukong Suh. Nash was good. He wasn't a first-round NFL draft pick. Okay? We need to prioritize that defensive line. We need to prioritize that offensive line. I was watching the conference championship games this week for the NFL. Okay, Eagles versus Commanders. The Commanders had the better quarterback in that ball game, and Jaden Daniels over Jalen Hurts. But the reason the Eagles won that football game, besides the fact that they were more talented in every aspect, they won that football game because they were significantly more talented in the trenches in the defensive line. They didn't have a great quarterback. Jalen Hurts is good. He's not great. But you win football games because they absolutely pummel every team they play in the O-line and D-line. And every single year, you know what position they're going after in the draft? O-line and D-line. Nebraska needs to prioritize that. Okay, it's one thing to have a good quarterback. And Dillon's good, not great. Wide receivers are good, not great. You want to win in the Big Ten, and Scott Frost have tried to work around this. Mike Riley tried to work around this. We need to build a culture of physicality on the offensive and defensive line. Matt Rhule's failed at that so far, man. You need to have top 5 units in both of those aspects. If you have that, you're going to win a lot of football games. Look how Notre Dame won this year. Notre Dame wasn't the most talented team. They weren't more talented than Georgia. They weren't more talented than Penn State. But they had the better defensive line, the offensive line. And their quarterback, tough as nails as well. Bring back that. I think Matt Rhule understands that. He just hasn't executed on that aspect. 5th and final hot take. Nebraska has a very passionate fan base. But I think Nebraska has civil wars within the fan base. We're very respectful to other fans, at least the majority of fans are. But I see this all the time on Nebraska internet where we're attacking each other because of our conceptions about the team. Somebody thinks that Nebraska football sucks, and the other fans saying, hey, you shouldn't feel that way. This team works so hard, this, that, and third. My final hot take is that Nebraska fans deserve, and it's okay to be upset with this team. Never tell another fan how to be a fan, ever. Never tell another fan, hey, you're a terrible fan because of the way you're acting. No. Okay. Everybody can act the way they want to act because we all love this team. We're all fans. Okay. You can be disappointed if Nebraska doesn't win 6 games. You can be excited if Nebraska does win 6 games. You can be disappointed if Nebraska loses to Iowa. You can call out the coach if you want. You can call out the players because they're getting paid nowadays, right? At the end of the day, I think this Nebraska fan base, we're passionate, but we're sensitive. We're really sensitive. Let's stop being sensitive about each other. Okay. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be a fan. We all love this team. We all want this team to be successful. Stop being so toxic to each other. Because I think this perception that Nebraska is this phenomenal fan base, that we never disrespect any other team. I don't think that's true at all. Nebraska's toxic. We're toxic, but we're toxic towards each other more than pretty much any other fan base. I mean, it's to stop, man. It's okay. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to doubt Matt Rhule. It's okay to doubt a coach. It doesn't mean you're a bad fan. It just means you're passionate. It means you care. I don't know. That's just something I thought about for a long time, man. We need to stop going at each other, man. It's okay to be pessimistic. It's okay to be optimistic. Feel whatever way you want to feel. Okay, but don't tell other people how to be a fan. It just doesn't fly around here. All right, guys. Those are my 5 Nebraska football hot takes. Let me know what you think, man. I don't expect a lot of you guys to agree with what I'm about to say, but let me know in the comment section. Let me know a hot take of your own. I absolutely want to hear it in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far in the video, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go be great. Go Matt Rhule. See you in the next one.